Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I have a very non-bingo-y rack, and I have the F and V combination, which go particularly badly together. I can get rid of them both with favour. And opponent has changed, which is good. It means I can get favour down. Do I have any other better plays? I don't think so. So favour for 20. What a good pickup. That looks very close to a bingo. There could be a 7 here. I'm not immediately seeing it. Favour does take an S at the end. So what about the floaters on the board? Do I have a bingo through the F? Not that I can see. How about the A? No. What about the V? Voterist, yes, so I do have a bingo in column 9, and the A I've already considered. I'm slightly concerned that there could be a 7 with this rack that I'm not seeing. Maybe it will come to mind. I'm going to consider the letters of the alphabet in the letters on my rack in turn as a candidate starting letter for a bingo. So not seeing anything with an A, or an I, or an O, R, S, and T. So just not seeing anything. How about prefixes and suffixes? Well, IST stands out. I would have traitors through an R, but I'm not seeing anything ending IST as a 7. I do have voterist as an 8. So what are the considerations? What should I do if opponent blocks voterist? Wow, and he doesn't. Fantastic bingo for him, 63 points. And my first thought is row O. Do I have a triple? And the S is quite propitiously placed. I note that voterist remains available, so I do have a bingo in my back pocket. So this rack plus an S. Gosh, so close to satirist. It would use up IT to end IST. Gosh, there could be a bingo through this S. Sometimes duplicates and multiple duplicates of bingo-y tiles make it hard to spot a bingo. I'm thinking about some sort of Russian word, sarotsy, something like that. Just not seeing it if there is one there. Now, what about other plays? Well, I'm just wondering whether I should even consider them, given that voterist is going to hamper opponents' access to this triple word square. So maybe I should be doing that, and it's not going to be much less than other plays. I'm still looking for a bingo through this S. It would be grievously annoying to miss it. So I would have Orly stat through an L. What am I confusing this with? I don't know. I'm going to stop looking and play voterist for 63. Great, I draw the first blank, and the rest of the rack isn't too terrible. I would have Wolfin through an O or an H. Neither available. In fact, very few floaters available. Now, column 11 only available for an S, and I think for a bingo, I'm likely to be using the blank as a vowel. Okay, nice play by opponent, 42 points. And he has provided an E in last place, so the blank doesn't have to be a vowel. But I've got 3 high-scoring tiles. I still think I should look. So what about this? What do I have? Whelping. Wow. This is going to be better than anything ending in E. Whelping for 107. Bang! That's fantastic start to the game. Back-to-back bingos. And I've now drawn a shockingly bad rack. And in some ways this is an easy rack to deal with because it is so bad that I am almost certain to be changing. Wow, whelping. What a fantastic bingo, and it's particularly enjoyable because the rack is so non-bingo-y with P, H and W on it and only one vowel. But those are some of the pleasures of the game. Now, do I really want to change? Is there anything better than changing? Maybe I've got something through S and R which burns up some of these vowels. If it was the other way around, I would have an irisate. Now, I think this opponent's move, good score. He's only 40 behind. And I think I probably should be looking to play in order to take out some of the hotness of column 15 and row O. So, at the very least, I could play ITA. And this is going to be just about better than changing. But can I play off a further vowel? Well, I can do something better, which is aid, which keeps a consonant and doesn't score terribly much less. Can I do any better than aid? Let me just put this back and have another look. I don't think I can see anything better, and this is certainly better than changing, so aid for... Well, what about Aida, keeping the E? I think that's going to be better, because the E is better than the A. I'm going with this. Well, I have a scoring tile in the K, the rest of the rack not particularly fantastic. And these vowels next to triple letter squares don't work with the K, unfortunately. So what am I looking to do here? Well, I think ideally leave a decent rack lead, which I could do by playing off KUI, which isn't good, but Kuia is, and that plays in row L, and that would take out column 14 as a bingo lane, and is still available. The score isn't massive, 16 points, but it certainly sorts the rack out. Now, is there something better? Opponent hasn't provided terribly much. Nothing goes in front of FE. I lead by about 30 points. So Kuia for 16. Great, this looks jolly close to a bingo, but do I have one? I would have Torrida onto an R. I'm not seeing a 7. And again, if there is a 7 here, it's super high probability, so I would hope to spot it. And not too many floaters to consider. The K not particularly useful, and you and I in last place not particularly useful. I would have Adroita beginning with an A, and I don't think that has an anagram. Now, do I have a play ending in E? Well, I don't think I do. So this is going to be slightly frustrating because all of these tiles are bingo-y, but I'm not seeing a playable bingo. So to what extent do I wreck the rack? I guess I can happily play off O and R, but the trouble with playing off a tiny number of tiles is a tiny score. What else is there to consider? I have a triplicate through F, E and T. Not seeing anything there. I have a double-double through O, E and A. Not seeing anything. Opponent taking a while on this play. Has actually used up more time than me in this game. Now I do have DO. Well, it's the... I'd like to play off an R as well, and I can't see a way of doing that in column 5. Not seeing anything ending in B, not surprisingly. So maybe my opponent will ride to the rescue. Well, he does create a spot for my D because of Dreed. Now, what about Dortier? I think Dortier is good. I do have a 7 on my rack, and it plays here. Good grief. Wow, I was so close to missing that. Unbelievable. Now, is there anywhere else for it? It doesn't play in column 3 or column 5. Nothing hooks favour. So, wow, I think my opponent has provided a spot for Dortier when none otherwise existed. Bang! 75 points. I was so close to missing that. Now, look at this. I've drawn the second blank. Fantastic. And I've got a 95-point lead. I don't think this rack, as it stands, is bingo-y. But it's quite nice to see the J with some vowels. So I ought to leave the rack in better shape at the end of this move than at the beginning. So where's good for my J? Look at this. I've got J-O, Joe and Ooze. This spot just waiting for a J. And that'll certainly improve the rack, but it'll still leave I-O-U, C, which isn't actually too bad, provided I draw consonants. Wow, I'm still reeling from the slowness of spotting Dortier. Now, what if opponent blocks my J spot? And he doesn't. In fact, he creates a new one. Youth takes a Y at the end. That's not going to be useful. And an S. So is there a way of playing off J, O, and U? I'm close to the tiles for log juice, but not close enough. J and U are not great tiles. So this is what I'm thinking of. Joe for 41. Nothing goes in front of DI, so I can't extend that. And the score is good, and as I say, the rack leave isn't too bad, but it's a vulnerable rack leave. I'm not seeing anywhere on the board I can outscore Joe, so I'm going with this. Not good. I do draw one more consonant, but it's a duplicate of the one I already had. But overall, this isn't too bad. And, well, my C can go in front of HE. Just wondering if it's worth looking for a bingo here. I lead by about 90 points, still 21 tiles to come. And they're sort of bingo-y-ish. There are going to be bingos amongst them, but there's also Q, X, Y, Z. And not many vowels. Let me just check the vowel situation. 8 out of 28 tiles. Wow. So I mustn't be in a hurry to jettison the vowels that I have. Let me have a look for a bingo, and I'm looking for a 7. Although as always, we'll keep an open mind for 8s. Not seen anything so far. Still nothing. Possibly leucotic through a T. I think there's absolutely no floaters at the moment. Wow, that looks close to something. Not seeing anything. Not seeing anything with the Q. Wow, so many of these tiles look close to a bingo, including the R and the S. Okay, so not seeing anything. So I'm looking to split up the duplicates and play the U off. Although Q still to come. But with the blank, I must be looking for a bingo. So do I have a play beginning with C? Not that I can see. Now C can go in front of O's. But I don't have a play ending with the B. What about a play through OR? Not seeing anything. Opponent goes there. Lorna takes nothing in front. Still one S to come for column 11, but my blank can also go in that spot. 12 minutes on my clock. Where can I play a C and a U? Well, I could play cutie, but that wrecks my C hook for HE. It gets rid of an E when there's only one E to come, so that's all bad. Do I have a play down here? I've got cock, but that's a rubbish score, and it takes an A in front, so that can't be best. 12 minutes on my clock. So frustrating. I'm just not seeing any candidate plays, and I feel that there will be some. I'm expecting there to be several, but I'm just not seeing any. One O to come. What about playing count? And this isn't a terrible rack leave. It is a terrible score. And I don't think count's good. I think it's counter. I could play cub. It's 7 points. I'm actually stopping opponent from using this double OS spot. He could put a Z there. He could play ZO or ZA. He could play a P. Yeah, or a B. So actually this is this has some strategic merit beyond score and rack leave. I'm going with this. Pretty grim. I draw 2 high-scoring consonants, so I now have 3. So any bingo is going to be low probability. What are the floaters on the board? Not many. The K does go well with the C. Okay, opponent takes out my S lane. But this is quite nice because he's provided a place where I can play Yip, which sorts the rack out massively. Yip does interfere with row D, and I only lead by 50 points. But actually a shutdown board does benefit me, because I think there's going to be no bingo lanes after I play Yip, apart from massive overlaps. So I should be able to hang on, and we are close to the end game, and Yip does hang on to vowels, so there's a lot which is good about it. 10 minutes on my clock. So is there a bingo beginning with C? I'm going to quickly squiz through the alphabet. I've got the time. And I'm looking for bingos of any description. And then I'll see if they can play. That would be the ly ending. So myopic plus an E. Gosh, that looks promising. Not seeing anything there. Copier. Burning the blank. I don't want to do that. Not seeing anything there. Wicopy, but again, it's just a 6. Okay, so not seeing anything else. Yip for 31. Great, I draw the X, and this should enable me just to keep on scoring. I've got Exotica on my rack. It doesn't play anywhere. Yeah, and this is what I thought may happen, a sort of little ladder heading up to the right, which is far more use to me than my opponent. So, any super hot spots for my X? So, the X can go between W and E. So I could play XI in that spot. Let me see what this scores. 32 points, nice score, great rack leave. Nothing goes in front of Mons. Column 14 is a bingo, lane for bingos ending in I, but it'll be a face value bingo, providing access to column 15 with the Z still out there. So it's really not worth trying to find something which plays in that spot, and which in any event is very unlikely. Now, I've got loads of time, 7 minutes, so this is a 30-point X play. Is there a bigger X spot available? Yock's not good. Mons takes nothing after it. So Mons has done a really nice job for me of closing down the board beyond short plays. Tix is good. Dixie is good. No, I'm not seeing anything better than XI for 32. Not great. I have cottage, should a bingo lane appear. Just looking at this I, it wouldn't have to be the last letter. It could also be part of a 9-letter word ending ITE. Tricky to see. So close to cogitate. But that doesn't work. Now I lead by 80 points, so I'm in a very strong position. Non-bingo-y board, non-bingo-y remaining tiles, and only 4 tiles in the bag. So my blank is really just a comfort blanket, which should enable me to keep playing. I no longer regard it as the component part of an upcoming bingo. So, what am I going to do now? Great, Nam takes nothing in front. This is not... Well, I don't think this is a bingo lane I can use. I'm looking at the remaining tiles. 1 tile in the bag. No S's. Just wondering if there was a way of opening up column 15 that was available just for me, and I don't think there is. So what I can do is play Cog for 20. That would take me to 430, 84 in front. Mag does take an I at the end, but I don't think opponent could get his Z triple, but even if he could, I don't think it would win him the game. And Cog takes an S in front, which is available only to me because of my blank. What if I draw a Z or a V? Quite likely. Or more likely than a 2 in 8 chance, because opponent would be more likely to have played them last turn than not played them. So is Cog the play? 5 minutes on my clock. I quite like it. It's a nice score. I wasn't seeing scores of that amount available. And if I don't play in this spot, opponent certainly can play ZA. Whereas this really inhibits him playing the Z in the top right. I'm going with this. Great, opponent has the V and the Z. I don't have an out in row A. And may not have an out anywhere. Not many spots available for playing off 5 tiles. Well, actually, there is column 15 I can play better, because Mage is good. Do I have a play beginning with T? I have Tabret. Well, no, I don't have the R for that. Youth doesn't take an E. The whole of the left really isn't available. So is there really nothing beginning with T? I don't think so. That would be a 3T 6-letter word. Not many of those. I think if opponent plays in column 15, I don't think he's playing the Z. Can't see how he can do that. And what I do have, although I can't go out in row A, I can play best for a decent score. Now, what about column 6? That's got 5 spots available. Probably ending TIT. Not seeing anything there. UT doesn't look particularly useful. Ups takes a Y at the end, so I could play Y bet, but that's not an out. K takes an O in front, but I don't have an out. T ending A would be quite spectacular, but I'm not seeing anything. Now, supposing column 15 remains available, do I have anything better than better? Mag takes a G and I and an E. No, the best I can see is better. So this is quite a good position to be in. I'm 80 or 90 points ahead. And opponent cannot win. And I can go out with better for 26. And the final score, 372 for my opponent, 484 for me, a winning margin of 112 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. And quite a nice amount of count back at the end of that game from the Z and the V. So it was my opponent to go first, and he changed my rack, and I play favour. Opponent's rack. Wow, this was a great spot. This looks really bingo-y, but only Freesia's available, and opponent found it. Now, moment of truth. Did I miss a triple-triple? No, I didn't. I played Votarist for 63. I could have got 5 more points with Aortitis at M3 through the I. Yeah, but then that would have left row O wide open for opponent, so I like my play. Horrible rack for opponent, but again, a great find of G-bags. And that's fantastic because I have whelping for 107. Opponent's rack plays swelled, and at this point, although I've had a couple of bingos, my lead is less than 50 points. And I have a tricky rack, and I play Ada, and I like that. Opponent's rack plays food, and now this is a tricky rack and my lead less than 30 points. Kiddled, J12. Yeah, that's nice. I would have played that, I think, if I'd seen it. So I played Kuya for 16. Interesting, Kuya for 16 keeping tied. I do like tied as a rack leave, even though it's an equal number of vowels and consonants. So is tied 8 points better than EI? And I would say it is. I think EI's got to be probably -2 maybe. And diet I would put up around 8 to 10 points. So yeah, I would say diet is 8 points better than EI, so I like my play. Opponent's rack has Endurer, nowhere for it. Plays Read, and here we go. This was my Dortier rack, which took me forever to see. And that would have been so horrible if I'd missed that. Now, opponent's rack plays Youth, and although I am leading, the lead is only 50 points, but I have the blank. So I played Joe for 41, but not at D4. I play it at K5 for the same score, and I prefer my positioning down here, or do I? Because JO would have set up a new bingo lane. However, at this point, my rack isn't bingo-y enough. So, and there are bingo-y tiles out there, so I actually prefer this position. I think this is probably more useful for opponent than the top position. Opponent's rack plays Lorna, and I struggled here, and I think I went with Cub in the end. But F10, Chow, quite nice, but it blocks a bingo lane, which I was quite keen on since I had the blank. Koosh, A7, horrible, putting a C in the middle of row A. And, well, all of these other options burn the E, and there's only one E to come, so I quite like my play, and as mentioned, it takes out this hot spot next to OOS. Opponent's rack plays Qua, and I don't have a bingo, and I play Yip, which looks fine. Horrible rack for opponent. Plays Mons. Wow, missed bingo. Exoticize F14 through I and E. Wow. Okay, so that's 72. I played XI for 32. And I prefer my play because I'm only dropping 40 points, which obviously sounds a lot, but blank CEOT is it's going to be worth at least 30 and maybe as much as 35. But more to the point, this board is just super tight. There are no bingo lanes on it apart from effectively a 9-letter lane in column 14. And I have a 50-point lead. So I think by playing XI, I'm pretty much guaranteed to win the game. Whereas if I played Exoticize, opponent could have a non-bingo coming down here in column 15, sticking the Z in 4th place for, an 80-point score or something. So I prefer my play. Opponent's rack plays Nam, and now I lead by about 60 points with 1 in the bag. And I play Cog, and I quite like that. It creates a row A spot, which is available only to me, and it creates a column 15 line, which is also useful for me and not particularly useful for an opponent who's got a Z. However, D15, opponent did have Enzian, which would have scored 56 points. It wouldn't have been enough to win the game, and he would have had a V, which he may have been stuck with. There may not be 2 spots on the board he could have played it. But anyway, that was available. Opponent played inane, and then finally I have a ton of bingos, all in the same spots, for 27 or 26 points, and I found one of the 26 pointers. So that was the end of the game. Absolutely fantastic game. Flying start with freeziers for opponent and 3 early bingos for me, including 100 points plus for whelping. I then established a lead and the board became super tight, which was great because it meant that I could hang on for the win. So many thanks to my opponent for a great battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.